Free Cooking with Oonagh. I have a culinary arts degree and trained in London and Switzerland, but I live in New Hampshire now. Of course, when you go gluten-free, the things you miss the most are the breads you are used to on a daily basis. And unfortunately, far too many of them out there not only don't taste anything like the wheat flour originals, but they're also ridiculously priced. Now, one of the things that I know Americans are crazy for is their bagels. Now, I didn't grow up on bagels. You hear the English accent. So bagels never really did much to me, but I do use Oodie's bagels and Oodie's bread products quite a lot because I find I can do things with them rather than just plain bagels. So one of the things I do is I have here an ordinary plain Oodie's bagel, and then I have the one they call an everything bagel with everything inside. I love their description. So what I do is I cut them into thin slices like you'd do for French bread croûtes, and either dry or bake them out in the oven to as dry and crispy as you like. Just remember, if you make them too dry and crispy, they're going to shatter when you try and put anything on. So you can see here, I've put goat's cheese on top of them, and half of them have got a sun-dried tomato jam, and half of them have got a roasted red pepper pesto on top. But so easy to do, and far easier than trying to make it yourself. It's got more texture and taste than using a cracker. What I also do with the Oodie's plain bagel is I make it into a bread pudding. Now in England we call American bread pudding bread and butter pudding, so don't get confused if you see these different terms. So what I really indulged in this morning was I made bread pudding for breakfast with chocolate and raspberries, and oh, it was so good, you know. And it's a sweet one, it's an indulgence, but when I make it also with fat-free milk and egg substitute, it's not nearly as evil as you think. And just half a bagel is enough for a decent breakfast for two of us. I also make it into a plain chocolate bagel. You know, chocolate is this recurring theme for us women, as you know. Another thing I did was, one of my favourite sausage and ham people is Jones Dairy Farm, that I used for years before I went gluten-free. And they're really great. They actually label their stuff as being gluten-free and have recipes galore on their website. So you want to give them business because they think about us and they've got on the ball. But what I did, one of their recipes was for an egg Benedict casserole. And if you remember, eggs Benedict should be a muffin, Canadian bacon, a poached egg and hollandaise sauce. And they'd made it into a casserole that you baked in the oven like a strata. So I took their recipe. I used Oodie's bagels. They used a muffin, but the muffin just didn't have the right texture for me. So I cut up the Oodie's bagel same way as I do for the bread pudding. And then I put it in there with little nuggets of Jones ham rather than slices, and baked it. And then I make, yes, real hollandaise sauce, but I make it with the immersion blender and finish it in the microwave. None of this standing over the stove with a double boiler. And again, it's something fabulous, and you can prepare it overnight and just bake it the next day for any of the special holiday times. So that's wonderful. Another thing we used to enjoy was we would buy, very occasionally, is one of those breakfast bagels with the egg, sausage and cheese, and that was our indulgence, together with the maple glazed donut and a culotta on a Sunday morning every now and again, none of which you can have any longer with gluten-free. But I'll take the Oodie's bagel, I make my homemade sausage patties with apple and onion, cook them all at once, freeze them, and then take them out as I like. And when we're traveling, flying anywhere, that's what I take with me as a meal, because you're talking the bagel with the egg, the cheese and the sausage, really sustaining and good from you. Yes, higher calories because you're talking a lot of food, but it's good and it's tasty. The other thing I do with the Oodie's bagel is, if you break up either the Oodie's bagel or the hamburger bun, either of them, and put them in the oven to just dry out roughly, put them in a bag and smash them a bit, you're making the equivalent of panko breadcrumbs, and it's cheaper than buying panko breadcrumbs and fresher. And one of the most popular recipes on my original wheat website, royaltemptations.com, was my brie in panko breadcrumbs pan-fried with the fruit salsa. So I then turned around and did that with either the Oodie's bagel or the Oodie's bun, made into panko crumbs and done that way with the brie, and that's fabulous as well. So you can find those recipes on my blog, royaltemptations.com/blog. Please like me on Gluten Free Cooking with Oonagh. Please give me a thumbs up here and subscribe to me, and I'll be back with more recipes for you that are all gluten-free, tasty, and everyone will love. Take care.